Hello, everybody. It's Georgia Rose from Zencuda. Is my hair sticking up? Hope not. Anyway, guys, how are you doing? I haven't been back in the studio for 2 weeks, but I'm here now. Thank God. I had a lot of stuff going on, and last Monday I had to speak at someone's wake. So just want to say I'm glad I'm here. I'm glad all you guys are here. I'm going to give everyone a few minutes to come on into the studio and live and see who's here. I know we already got people on already. It's amazing. Hey, Janine, how are you doing? Hope everything's going well. I know Janine's had a little bit of a setback with some friends of hers that she's worried about. And Monica, I hope you're doing really well. So I'm going to give everybody a few minutes to just pile on into the studio, and hopefully we're going to have a great show tonight. We are going to talk about the astrology for April and so many things. I'd love to hear you guys calling into the show. We're going to open the phone lines right away. And if you don't feel like calling in, you can always ask a question in the chat, and then we'll try and answer it. And it can be about anything. It doesn't have to be about astrology. It could be anything you want to ask me about life above the five senses. So for those of you who are tuning in and are new to Zencuda and the Zencuda community, basically we are a community of love, and we are on live every Monday at 7 o'clock in the Soul Space. If you miss our broadcast live, you can always see us in channel 115 Cablevision. We are on usually 8 o'clock, and it's usually one show behind. So it's last week's show if you tune in on Monday. And we actually always talk about spiritual things, and we also sometimes have guests. Next week, I'm going to have Laura Kubis on. She actually works with horses, and she does a lot of hypnotherapy with horses and meditations and things. That'll be really interesting to hear about how she utilizes that energy. But like I said, tonight we are going to talk about the astrology for April. So I'm just sharing the show here. I'd love it if you guys could do that too. If you're watching and you want to share the show to somebody, that would be really awesome. I would absolutely love that. Share it live, share it on your pages, share it wherever you can share it. So the first thing I want to talk about tonight is, believe it or not, I would like to talk about the Oscars. Now, you guys know, if you watch this show often, which I hope all of you do, that I very rarely watch media. But I would be remiss if I didn't comment about the Will Smith, Chris Rock thing. And I know maybe you've all tired of hearing about it already, but I just have to comment about this because it didn't really bother me. I saw a clip of it today, but it didn't really bother me until I heard the soundbite of Will Smith. I heard the soundbite of Will Smith this morning when he said, "Love makes you do crazy things." And I took issue with that because I have to say that love doesn't make you punch people in the face. I mean, not the last time I checked her, I felt love. When I was feeling love, I didn't feel like I wanted to punch anyone in the face, never mind do it on national television with the whole world watching me. But there's just so many things that are not right about that whole thing. But I have to say, only reason why I bring it up is because it is absolutely indicative of the energy that we have going on right now with all the Aries energy, the planets that we have right now with things in Aquarius, so many different things going on right now with it. So we're going to get into that, and I'm going to explain a little bit later in the show as we go with the transits. But first of all, I just had to make that statement that love does not make you punch people in the face. So, Will, I love you. I've followed you for most of my life. You've been an inspiration, but that was really a silly thing to say. So when I look at that and I look at the clip back, it fits in with the astrology because right now we have a lot of Aries energy, and Aries is a very impulsive, very quick, very it's ruled by Mars, which is the god of war, right? So Aries energy usually makes you want to fight. And sometimes if you know someone with a lot of Aries in their chart, they'll even get angry if someone won't fight with them. So I just felt that was such an Aries moment to have Will go on that stage and hit Chris Rock. Now, the other part of that is the Aquarian energy is so exemplified by what Chris Rock was saying and doing, and it plays into a lot of different things. Aquarius, where we have this beautiful conjunction of Neptune and Jupiter coming in on the 12th of April, and that is a 160-year transit. So we all want to take advantage of that. But when that happens, what's going to happen is it's going to give us a lot of connection. It's going to give us a lot of soul connection with each other. So if you have really important conversations or negotiations to do, around the 12th of the month is a really great time to do them. From the 12th to the 16th, because we have a full moon on the 16th in Libra, which is great for diplomacy. But getting back to the Chris Rock, Will Smith thing. So Will Smith was like really Aries energy. Like he was taking that stage and he was going to go up there and and if you look at the video, like Chris Rock actually like was pushed back when he hit him. So it was really powerful, that fire, that ram, right? Aries is the ram, charging in. He was really Aries-like. And then Aquarian energy is energy of community. In its highest octave, Aquarian energy is community in its highest form. It's, our churches and our connections with people on a soul level and things like that. It's serving the greater good. It's serving humanity. But the lower energy of Aquarius is those communities that we form out of fear, that instinctive fear of what if I don't belong? What if I'm not accepted? And that's going to come up a lot in April. A lot of our insecurities in that department is going to come up with some of the planet transits that we have. And so what incensed Will Smith to take that stage and be that charging ram, that Aries ram, and go to war? Well, it was something Chris Rock said that threatened their inclusion in the community, in that Hollywood golden community, right? He made a comment about Will's wife, Jada Smith, and it was a comment that, although I think really shouldn't have been made, it was off, maybe not in the best of taste. Isn't that what their community there does, right? How many Oscar shows have you watched where the comedian comes out and he is trying to be successful at his monologue or elevate his star, quote unquote, status at someone else's expense? Like the comedy is always harsh, right? So that's Aquarius energy in its lower form. Communities that are formed because everyone wants to be the same, right? We join in years past, right? In different cultures and different time frames of our society, people would join a country club because it only included people like them. Or people will go to certain schools because that's a culture that they believe in or they belong to. And what happens is we get into situations and we get into constructs and we set precedences where we're eliminating certain people in order to make ourselves feel comfortable. That's community formed out of fear. That's not community formed out of love. So when Will said love makes you do crazy things, I think he had it a little backwards, because I think it was really fear that made him do that crazy thing. And even though it may not seem like it, when he took that stage and he looked so powerful, and it was really the old adage of might is right. And where are we seeing that on the global stage right now, right? The whole, Russia, Ukraine, might is right. You're not like us. You're threatening our culture here in Russia because you're free people, and we can't have free people on our border. We have to circle the wagons, figuratively, to keep our idealism, our idea of what a construct, what a structure is, safe. So we're going to attack anything that is not of what we think. And so that's a lot of the energy that's going to be coming in and heightened in some aspects in the April energy. So I challenge all of you, where are the constructs that you've grown up with, that you've become adult with, that you have led your adult life with? Where are those constructs and those precedences in your world actually limiting you instead of keeping you safe? And it could be anything. It could be a construct of, I need to do this to make money, but it's not fulfilling you. I need to raise my family this way because that's the way I was raised. I'm having trouble getting pregnant and having a baby, but I have to have a family because that's what people do, right? There are so many different constructs, from small things to large things. Like, I have to drive this car. I have to look this certain way. I need the Botox because everyone in my group gets Botox, right? How many constructs do we have in our life that instead of bringing us closer to more love and expanding our life, how many of those constructs are really restraining us from expanding what our soul really wants to be in alignment with? Something to really think about, right? And that is going to come to a head because we have the north nodes, the nodes of the moon, the north and south nodes, actually squaring Saturn. And we also have Uranus conjuncting them this month. And for those of you that sounds like a different language, I'll go into a little bit of a explanation of those things. So let me start in the beginning, and I'm going to go through some dates and things for you guys in April. But the energy that I just described, the Will Chris Rock energy, really is, when I saw that, I was like, wow, I couldn't ask for a better example to talk about on tonight's broadcast that would really, just be such a great example of what the energy coming in is. And even if you think about and you take that idea of community via exclusion a step further, I thought it was really, really interesting how we have a group of people who are always talking about, freedoms and the constructs of liberation, basically Will Smith, and we had Denzel Washington, and this group of men that after that happened, all kind of went over to Will Smith and were championing him and saying, hey, and really like being supportive of him. But nobody went over to Chris Rock. And to me, he was a bit of a victim in this. And so it was really interesting, and I couldn't help but feel it was really shining a light on the hypocrisy that we have in today's world in a way, and where do we even, practice hypocrisy in our own lives, where we think we're so inclusionary and we think we're so, expanded and we're so awake, but in actuality, our practices are extremely excluding, and that was really interesting to me to see the reaction of even the general public, if, how different would that demonstration of what Will did and Chris standing there, by the way, had like no reaction, just tried to stay on script, which was very interesting. But I wouldn't know if I would be able to do that. But it was really interesting in watching that unfold, put a different frame of reference on that, or put a different look on that, a different, what do they call it? Optic on it is the buzzword now. What if those weren't two African-American men? What if those were a black and a white person? Or what if they were another minority and another minority? Or would it have a different spin in today's news? And I don't say that to be political. I say that, I love everybody. So that's just how my soul lives. But I say it in the framework of, we are being shined a light, universe is shining a light on the inequality that we all practice in some way in our life. And we all do it, and it's not meant sometimes to be malicious or to be to victimize the other person. We do it because it's a defense mechanism for ourselves in our own constructs and conditioning that we have put forth as far as what makes us feel safe. It gets back to, I'll give you an example that's totally, really kind of benign and has nothing to do with people. I drive certain cars because I feel safer in them, and is that true, or is it just like a status symbol for me? I don't know, something to look at, right? So we all have these little areas where we think we are so evolved, and we're really not. We're really not so evolved. And I think the energy coming in for April, and also one of the themes for 2022, is going to be the evolution of the soul, and really going to where our soul energy is, and what does that energy really want us to do? How does your soul want you to live your life, right? And taking time and to be fully present in that, and breathe every once in a while, and just kind of connect with your soul and evolve to more love and more wisdom, that can actually bring us in connection with our soul, so that we're living in a love-based mentality, and not that might is right, my way or the highway. My belief system has to be the belief system. My friends have to believe what I believe and think what I believe. And we do it with so many things. Even like I've talked so often on the show, sometimes we have a wound or we have a trauma that's been done to us. And we immediately surround ourselves with other people who have similar experiences because we want to stay in that wound because it's safe. We don't want to evolve out of it. And I think there's going to be a lot of healing that goes on in the next few months with the energy coming in, where we're going to be forced to evolve out of those wounds and the trauma and the defense mechanisms and the conditioning and stuff. So it'll be a really interesting time to watch in our lives where those lights are shined for all of us. And I'm going to watch because I really think that in the long run, Will Smith may be coming out with saying more about this, because if you follow him over the course of his life, he has always been such a positive light into the world in many ways. So it's going to be really interesting to see his take on these things. So I'm going to go to the comments now and just look and see what we got going on in my comments. And hope you guys enjoyed my little opening monologue. Oh, we got so many people on here tonight. We got Monica and Janine and Sarah. I haven't seen you all in so long. Joanne and Anne. I got Andrew Washington. Andrew Washington comes on at 9 o'clock tonight, right on Strong Island. So Say the Truth with Andrew. And I really watch that show. I've been sick with things and COVID and everything the last few weeks, but I want to go on Andrew's show and I want to have him on here too. So really, if I had to sum up the energy for April, watch out for deeper teachings. We're all going to have deeper teachings so that we can evolve, all right? So call into the show. Bobby will put the number up on the screen, my producer, and comment, ask me anything. We're going to start out the month with a new moon. That happens right on Friday, April 1st. And the new moon is actually in Aries. So we've got a lot of Aries energy coming in. Remember, Aries is that ram. This new moon is going to want us to push forward with innovation. It's going to want us to go for the passion in our life. What are we really passionate about? But what is that passion? What is the origination of that passion? Is it from our soul and what we really feel, deep inside we want to do? Or is that passion something like keeping up with the Joneses, right? You're going to want to analyze that a little bit. This is a strong, intense new moon. It's going to give us a lot of new confidence. It does align with Mercury, and all the planets are direct. So this is going to be very powerful. Mercury went into Aries this past weekend, actually on Sunday. And what I will tell you is Mercury in Aries, we have a choice. Mercury in Aries, we can come into Mercury in Aries and use the energy for assertion to really tackle our goals and really be the powerhouse. Aries energy, if you took a survey of CEOs of companies, many of them are Aries. The only thing about Aries is they love to start things. This is new, it's cardinal, it's starting things, but Aries don't always finish them. A typical Aries CEO is someone who starts a company, really is successful at that, but then knows how to delegate and give all the details and things that have to be done to the people beneath him, because in that way it gets done. Aries don't like to stick with things. They come in like the ram and go out like the ram. That Mercury and Aries energy, which we're going to have in play all month, is an energy where you really have to watch your words. You really going to want to think before you act, because you can be very sharp-tongued in this energy. And also it's an energy where you are going to want to not so much listen to other people. You're going to want to have a fast resolution. Just tell me what you mean. Just tell me how to do it. And you may want to take a step back and listen to other people, or you may find yourself apologizing a little bit. So, be a little bit mindful of your words this month. I'm telling you, there's going to be a lot of apologizing going around. So that new Aries moon comes in, and it can be a nice energy too for getting things done, as long as you don't go into that energy of impatience, because people are really going to be impatient in this energy. So make sure that, take a step back, do your meditations, ground yourself in nature, slow up a little bit. I'm laughing because Sarah just said, boy, you trained me well. All these things went through my mind. See, so she was watching, she's talking about Will Smith and Chris Rock. She was watching and thinking the same things I was. See, it's so true. And Andrew says he'll be here. Anne Rothy will be there. I guess she means on The Truth, watching Andrew tonight. Yeah, we have a great lineup on Tuesday night, on Tuesday already. See, Aries is speeding me up. We have a great lineup on Monday nights. We've got myself, Soul Space, kicks off the night, and then we have Tea Time with Teresa. awesome show. She always has like guests on from all walks of life and Hollywood and New York theater and stuff. And then we have The Truth with Andrew. It's just a great lineup. I mean, you don't even need network TV. You just stay here on Strong Island. You're going to do great. And also on Thursday and Friday nights, my producer, Bobby Lacera, who owns Paradise Studios in Strong Island, he does an open mic and a jam session on Thursdays. And then on Fridays, we have an open mic. And it's everything. You never know what you're going to walk in and find. It's really eclectic and beautiful. And we've got everything from, rock to rap to we've got people who do poetry. We've got sometimes tarot readers come on. I mean, there's anything and everything. There's a mic and you can do whatever you want at it. Okay. So then after we get that Aries new moon, things are, pretty intense, I have to say. This is a month where everyone's going to be a little intense. So how do you utilize that energy? Take your intensity and your impatience and try and internalize it for assertion. And when you feel frustration, realize that's the universe telling you have to do something a little differently, right? It's not working the way you're doing it. Instead of getting frustrated with that, look up and find the new way that the universe is trying to tell you to get there, to be, to do, to see, a new perception. And really have that relationship with the breath when you're doing that, because it's going to bring you into a different perspective. So then on April 9th, Saturn in Aquarius squares the nodes of the moon. And this is very, very important. The nodes of the moon in our charts, we have a north node and a south node. The nodes of the moon are arcs of development. So it reminds you of Raiders of the Lost Ark, right? So the south node is the area in our charts where past lives can be shown. When I read a chart, I know whatever is near or on the south node, depending where it is in your chart, I know what the energy is that you brought into this lifetime. I know what your challenges are. I know the warm, soft blanket you brought in from other soul incarnations that you just don't want to let go of, but you're supposed to let go of. So, and sometimes those things are the warm, safe blankets that are probably not very good for us. So the north node is where we are supposed to be going towards. It's where we aspire to. It's the things that are challenging in our life, but the real point of why we're here. It's what the soul really wants to accomplish in this lifetime. So when I read a chart, the nodes are extremely important to me. And when we have a planet like Saturn squaring the nodes, that means that it's in direct conflict with the nodes of fate, with the nodes of your arc of development. What is the energy of Saturn? Saturn is limitation. Saturn is the dad that walks in the room on Saturday morning when you're having a pillow fight and watching cartoons and drinking chocolate milk with your brothers and sisters, and he tells you have to go upstairs and get dressed. That's Saturn. Saturn is limits. Saturn is the discipline. Saturn wants us to learn what we need to do in our life, where we need to exercise discipline, and really the word disciple comes in here. Saturn wants us to be a disciple of our life. What does that mean? To observe our life, use our life as our teacher. And the way Saturn wants us to do that isn't like when the dad comes in and shuts TV off and starts yelling at the kids to clean up the room. Saturn is more of a yin energy. It's more of a feminine energy. It wants to come in and do that, but it wants to show us the right way to do things. Like maybe kids, you've got 10 more minutes to watch TV and have your pillow fight and then clean up the room because we've got to go to grandma's. It's that beautiful, nurturing, teaching energy that wants to, with a gentle hand, show us a better way to do things. How does Saturn do that? Well, it does it by highlighting areas in our life that we need to change. And usually the universe will do that and give us a little poke or a nudge. And we don't listen because we always think we know better. And then the universe will come and slap us on the back of the head. And we just think, oh, what was that? Geez, I don't want to get, I don't even know what that was. I'm just going to keep doing what I'm doing. And then the universe, if we're still not listening, comes in like a wrecking ball and will destroy something, remove something, allow us to lose something for our betterment. And while we sit and have a tendency to be in the detriment and the loss of that, what Saturn really wants us to do is suck it up, buck up, and look for a different way to do things. It takes something out of a space so we can put something better in a space. So if you find yourself experiencing some loss lately or some loss this next month, realize that it's actually coming into your life because the intention is to heal something. The intention is to make something better. So really observe and be careful and look at what is being taken away or what is being diluted or where you're being directed, because this month especially is a really big month for relationship. You're going to see a lot of relationships either end or find a crossroad. Like I always say in this energy, relationships are either going to break down or break up. Now, as painful as sometimes that can be, it happens so that we can move on to better things. And sometimes those breakdowns actually lead to a reconstruction of that relationship. So it could go either way. We have choices, just like we have a choice to use the Aries energy for assertion or aggression. Are we going to start a war and slap someone in the face? Or are we going to stay in our chair and think about the conversation we're going to have with this person after this so that we can bring more love into our life? Our choices, right? So every choice we make creates more of us. And it creates more of our life. So be very careful in your choices. So when Saturn squares the nodes, this is April 9th, the way you want to utilize that energy is look for the opportunity in the challenge. You may be facing a challenge. There's an opportunity there. You have to go to that optimism of that opportunity. You have to go to the connection, connect with the challenge. You know, when we run away from challenges, when we suppress them, when we repress them, there's no opportunity there. We're closing the door to the opportunity when we don't allow the emotion of a challenge to really sink into our souls and sit with it a little bit. When we do that, in that quiet space, we find the opportunity in the challenge. That's the energy that's coming in April 9th. So whatever starts to happen around those days, just really try and look for that opportunity, that silver lining. Every cloud has one, because that's where unresolved conflicts get resolved. And then we change things permanently. And this is a year where a lot of things are going to be looking up for permanent change. And we can either do that or not do it. If we don't do it, we're going to suffer the consequences. So some things will arise around that April 9th period that are arising, giving us a little bit of challenge so we can find an opportunity because it wants to heal something for our expansion. It wants to heal something for our expansion so that we become more love, more peace, more light. And then, as beautiful as timing goes, because, you know, the universe always gives us exactly what we need. And I think that is the most amazing thing. And every time I say that, I feel like I'm going to cry. But right on the heels of that April 9th energy, which if I had to just sum it up, April 9th's energy is going to be like coming in for the whole collective of the universe so that we will understand something we didn't before. It's challenging, but there's an opportunity in there to understand. And in our own personal charts, where that hits is going to be in those places where we've got that Aquarius energy and Taurus and Scorpio axis. So if you want to get a free chart, you go on astro.com or astrology.com, and you can get a free chart and look up your houses or your natal stuff. Where is Scorpio? Where is Taurus? Where is Aquarius? Or you can come to me for a reading and I can teach you a little bit about it. And then every once in a while you come to me and I can tell you what's going on, but you'll be able to read yourself a little bit in between. And so these deeper teachings are about integration that are going to come in. April's a really serious, really deep month. I got to tell you, it's a good month for discussions if you can keep your patience. It's a good month for negotiation if you can keep your patience. If you can't, don't do those things because you're going to end up being the ram. So the themes are relationships and with each other. Themes for April are going to be relationships in business. You know, Aries is very much a business energy. And with the nodes of the moon in play, Taurus and Scorpio, that is an energy of life and death. You're going to see a lot of things leave this world. A lot of people who maybe have been sick for a while finally, decide to leave. You're going to see a lot of pets leaving. That's just the energy of the nodes where they are for 2022. It's a lot of endings to bring us to new beginnings. But that being said, it's not just our relationship with each other, it's also our relationship with time and form. So to simplify that, this energy, heightened this month and then carried through the end of the year, is going to ask us to really look at where have the structures in our life, the formations of things in our life, the professions we choose, the constructs of our communities that we choose, where we work, the cultures of those workplaces, our family cultures. all the conditioning that we've had throughout our life, this energy and the energy for the rest of 22 is going to come in and ask us, what is our relationship to those constructs based on the precedents set before, and how do we relate to the forms of them in time? Simply stated, I'll give you an example that's happening on the world stage now, and then you would drill this down to your own personal life as well in some way. So we've got a patriarchal society, right? Most of the world is run by males who are a certain way. It's a certain construct. The whole world is coming apart at the seams now, questioning that construct. People all over are being made to question their relationship with these forms of government, forms of religion, forms of community. That's what's happening. So this is the breaking free of those constructs and dissolving those conditionings so that we can bring more love in our life. Just as I described before about that Aquarian energy of community being good or community can be bad, right? So this is to bring a higher form of wisdom. And the way the energy does that now is it comes in and it dissolves the form. It dissolves the constructs. It dissolves the structures, the governments, the communities, the religion, makes us question them or dissolves them completely in our life, because in order for us to bring in a new form, it's got to dissolve the old one. Think of if you've ever seen or ever actually done a cement walkway or a concrete sidewalk. Right? They use forms. And they pour the concrete, and now the concrete is stuck in those forms for years and years and years and years, right? That's the way our lives are formed, the conditioning of our lives, not our own life force, but the things around us. Where do we go to school? How do our parents teach us? What is right and wrong? All these dualities and constructs, right? It's like the cement form, and then we're plucked in it. We're told this is where you live. You live in this cement form. Well, now the universe is bringing us energy that's cracking that form and dissolving it, and almost like earthquake energy. And so once that dissolves to rubble, and we're seeing this literally happen in certain parts of the world, something else gets put in its place. It's a rebuilding, it's a regeneration, it's a rejuvenation. This is also happening in our own personal lives. And that's the energy that's coming in. So in order to utilize that energy really well, you have to ask yourself, what do I desire to put in this form that I'm living in this space of time that I'm living in? What do I desire to put there more than anything else? What does my soul, the core of me, really desire to put in that construct, in that form? And that is how you create the beautiful life built on passion and love that you really want. So we are going to be losing that conditioning, questioning our relationship to time and form. Really heavy duty stuff, let me tell you. So in our everyday lives, how does this play out? It plays out by us being more present and independent in our thinking, and really asking ourselves on a daily level, every once in a while, where can I expand? What do I need to heal so that love goes in that place? And also, what wisdom do I need to understand? What do I need to learn in order to integrate my life to a place where it's more meaningful? We can stay in that little cement square of construct of what we've been taught is the right way to be and do and say, or we can be, like a little, I know in my backyard, I have a patio that's all, stone, and the weeds always grow up out of it, right? The flowers sometimes grow up out of it. We can stay in that concrete and be paralyzed in there in our conditioning and really dissatisfied and depressed and detached our whole life. Or we can be like that little sprout that sprouts out through the concrete and really live our lives and go towards the light and look for what's really going to make us happy and joyful and complete. And so the choice is really ours. And if you think you don't have a choice, then you've really got some work to do, because your soul knows you have a choice. You're just not listening. So go towards the North Node in Taurus, because the North Node in wherever Taurus is in your chart, that is where you are the most resourceful. That is where you know how to use your own resources that you have within yourself. What are you really good at in order to source your life? And that's when the soul's in alignment. So that April 12th date comes on the heels of that April 9th. April 9th comes in all of a sudden the constructs in our life, things are getting questioned. We're asking ourselves, what's my relationship to these things? Do I really want to still do this? Do I want to be in this marriage? Do I want to be in this job? Do I want to, keep doing the things that I'm doing? Do I want to be in addiction? Do I want, these restraints that I'm putting in my life? Do I really want this? Do I want to close the business and go pursue surfing in Hawaii? These are the kind of energies that are going to come in. And so it's a releasing of those conditionings. What are the conditionings that we are put on by society? It's shame, it's prejudice, it's depression. Those constructs limit our joy, they limit our freedom, they limit our ability to love, and they do it in insidious ways. So all that energy comes in and it's heavy, right? And then April 12th, we have this gorgeous energy that comes in Pisces. For the first time in 160 years, Jupiter and Neptune are in the same place in the cosmos, in the zodiac, in Pisces. What is that about? It's about deep spiritual connection. It's a spiritual tsunami of our ability to connect with the other side, to connect with our own souls, to connect with divinity. So how amazing is it that the universe gives us this heavier time around the April 9th where we're going to be shown what we need to heal, what we need to really understand, how we get in alignment with our soul, what we need to do. And then on April 12th, it gives us this beautiful energy of connection to do it. And it's like your soul just opens up and the light comes out and somebody writes on the blackboard of your heart, this is what you're meant to do. And so that's the energy of April. In the middle of the month, we suddenly start to get these innovations and these light bulb moments, and suddenly the impatience will give way to optimism. And it's really beautiful if you stay in that light energy. Other people are going to be fearful of those things that were brought up as challenges, and they're going to go further into the status quo and the fear and the defense. And those are the people who will be very detached and very depressed because they're not in alignment with the soul. So then on April 16th, the universe gives us even more beautiful energy. And that is the full moon in Libra. And it's in harmony with Saturn. That energy that started out the month and gave us a lot of this challenge and impatience. Now this beautiful full moon in Libra comes in. And Libra is relationships. Libra is balance. Libra is diplomacy. So around that April 16th date, it's a good time if you've done a little bit of work in the first 2 weeks of April and gotten yourself grounded and you're not being the ram charging in and telling everybody what they should be doing and ordering people around and being impatient. If you've done your homework and you're relaxed and you're balanced, April 16th full moon is going to be such a beautiful time. If you're in business, it's a great time for negotiations. If you are looking to negotiate in a relationship, it's a great time. Choose your words carefully. I would suggest maybe writing down what you want to say before you actually get there. This is a time also where, because, Libra is ruled by Venus, this is a time where you may meet someone and have an instant infatuation. I always tell people in this energy, and this is around April 16th, I always tell people when the stars are aligned this way, go slow, because what happens under an influence like that may not be everything you think it is. You may have rose-colored glasses on. And then we have quite a bit of time to work out all of these intense energies that come in. And if anybody has any questions about the energy, you can call into the show, or you can just, put it in the comments and I'll answer. So we have all this heavy duty for the first 3 weeks of April energy to really dig deep into our soul and get in alignment. And what I'm going to tell you is, whether you're in business or you're tuning in to get some advice about personal relationships or whatever it is, the more in alignment you can be with what you really want to do with your life, what your soul really feels great doing, the more all of those things fall into place, no matter what it is. So you've got to really do that foundationary work first. And the rest of this year is a lot about the foundations in our life. We've got a lot of Uranus and Saturnian energy playing in with the nodes of fate. And that's all about our foundation. And that's why it's really important to do this work, even if you're feeling like it might be a little heavy or it's too deep for you. Do the work, because if we can really release a lot of these restraining things in our life, it's going to bring in energy that will bring us the success, the abundance, whatever our desire really is, now gets put into that beautiful space of attraction. So then we end the month with more intensity. May's going to be a lot better, don't worry. And April's not a bad month. It's just a month that gives us a lot of challenge to lead us to opportunity. It's the silver lining within the cloud. But April 29th, we have a solar eclipse. It's the first eclipse that we have in the new year and 2022. And it happens while Venus and Neptune is connecting in Pisces. That's that energy I talked about on the 12th that is exacting, that comes in and opens us up for connection. That's just a beautiful harmonizing energy. So if you have something really challenging to do, that's a beautiful time of the month to do it. But this solar eclipse aligns with Uranus and harmonizes with Mars. This solar eclipse is going to be really powerful. And I'll talk about it further on one of the other shows that we do. But I have to tell you, that eclipse is going to ignite an energy for the next 2.5 years. It's an energy that is extremely powerful and wants us to move forward in our life. So if there's something you've been procrastinating about, it's probably going to come to the head at the end of April in a very powerful way. That could be great. It could be something that really challenges you. I do not know. Depends on your chart. So just want to backtrack a little bit and give you guys some dates. The energy we have going on right now, because March 29th, Venus and Saturn are conjuncting. And, what that really is wherever Aquarian energy is in your chart, whatever house that's in, and again, you can get a free chart on astro.com or cafeastrology.com. That is a culmination and ending right now of whatever was happening a year ago. So like for me, Aquarius is my third house. It's communication. So I know something in the realm of communication or what I do here with the podcast or whatever, something's going to change. Something's going to end a cycle and begin a new one. We've been making the show a little different. So that kind of fits in with that energy. I came here about a year. It'll be a year in June. And so prior to that, I was at a different studio. And so for me, when I look at that in my own chart, it means that I may find some kind of a limitation coming in, that I need to find the challenge, the opportunity within the challenge. So wherever that energy is in your chart that we're in right now, it's about something that started a year ago, coming to a head now. It could also be a relationship, a limitation put on a relationship, so you can see a better way to do it. That new moon also that comes in on Friday, April 1st, same thing. It's about taking initiative. And then April 9th, same thing. But that April 9th energy is all about really breaking through the limitations, being that, weed, that flower that grows through the cement. So nobody called in tonight. You guys are all shy. So does anybody have any questions or anything in the soul space? I'm going to pull 2 cards for world energy. The other thing I'm going to tell you is mid-April. Guys know I'm really not political, even though it seemed like it in the beginning of the show. That was really just a collective feeling, not a political feeling. Middle of the month of April, I have looked at Putin's chart, and I did his chart. And middle of April, that's all going to really heat up. He's got some real intensity coming in the middle of April for his own personal chart. It'll be interesting to see what happens with that. So I'm going to pick a couple of cards for world energy. Let's see where we're going. United States of America is also in its Pluto return, so we're going to see a lot of changes in our structures in our country. All right, we've got the Page of Wands, and I've got the Four of Pentacles, which is all about balance. So what this tells me is this month also is going to be a month for communication. We're going to be having things revealed, but they're being revealed so that we can balance and have our truth come to light. I think a lot of revelations are going to come on the heels of that conditioning energy being released, like I was talking about. I think that we're going to see things that have been structures and forms that we thought were a certain way for a very, very long time. And now things come out to show us they really were never that way. So it's really about illusions being burst in a lot of ways. And it's for the good. It's so that we can really see truth and work with what's real. So that's going to be really interesting. I'm going to pick a soul card for our collective energy, but it fell out of the deck. Yeah, definitely. A lot of revelation. Things are going to start to come to light that we never knew before. Maybe suspected, but never knew. And this is the Pisces card. So that tells me that around April 12th, when Neptune and Jupiter are conjunct in Pisces, expect a lot of news to come out. The other card that I picked was this beautiful soul card, where we have someone like peeking from behind leaves and their face is half in shadow and half in light. If that's not a perfectly demonstrative portrait of seeing the light coming out from the dark, it's this card. It's just an amazing look at that. So to me, that really confirms for me that the energy is definitely in April. Something's going to come to light on the world stage that reveals and exposes. I just feel that word exposes something that we are not quite aware of yet. Yeah, because I just picked the Seven of Wands, which is a card of, challenge, battle. But then after that, I got the Sun, which is the health card, which is good things, which is new beginnings, birth. So I'm telling you, that's what it is. This month is going to be really interesting to watch, both in our personal lives and also on the world stage. So let me go back and look at the comments. Yeah, everybody has the same feeling about the Will Smith thing. That's so funny. Yeah, it makes a lot of sense, right? How can you say love makes you do crazy things? Yeah, love makes you do crazy things, but not violence, I don't think. That's not love. Oh, that's the other thing I want to talk about. Aries, very passionate energy. But let's pull apart passion. Let's unpack passion for a minute. Passion, like we're seeing, could make you punch someone in the face, right? But that's not good passion. That's anger. That's Will Smith getting angry. That's not love. That's passion and anger, right? Heat of passion. I hear somebody laughing in the green room. But it's so true, right? Come on the show and tell us what you really think. So we have such a fun group here. But passion is really meant to be love, and that beautiful passion. You can feel passionate about anything, right? This Soul Space Zenkuda, the podcast I do, that's a passion project for me. So when we think of passion, we think of that Aries energy, really make sure you go into the love part, the assertion, When you're passionate, you can make crazy love and have, the best sex of your life. Or you can go on the stage at the Oscars and punch someone in the face. It's all passion, but how do you really want to choose to utilize it and make it, right? So that's what you really want to think about in this month. And that's the challenge that we're all going to have. Are we going this way or are we going this way? So make your choices and make them very carefully. So I think that's our show for tonight. Next week, I have Laura Kubis coming on, and as I said, she works with horses, and she's going to talk to us all about horse therapy that she does. She does beautiful meditations with the horses in the paddock. I'm actually going to be doing one with her this spring, a private one with some friends of mine, and just checking my comments. And then we're also going to have John Vasallo on. I had to reschedule him because, of course, I got COVID. I was so ticked off about that because I went 2 years without it and then I got it, but it wasn't so bad. So that's how we're doing. So thank you so much for tuning in. I love each and every one of you. This is the energy that I source my life from. So I hope you'll come back in next week when we have Laura on. And if you have any astrology questions, put them in the comments and I'll answer them after the show. Thanks so much, everybody. I'll see you next week at 7 o'clock right here on Strong Island Television on the Soul Space with Georgia Rose. And don't go away because you want to stay tuned for Tea Time with Teresa. Thanks so much, everybody. Good night.